We're back with our special Stossel show from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. So let me ask the audience here, how many of you think gay marriage should be legal? Raise your hand. How many of you don't? All right. You're a liberal group, typical. You're not the normal North Carolina audience, because I know that. There was just a vote. 60% of North Carolinians apparently disagree. They recently voted in favor of a constitutional amendment that makes sure there won't be court-approved gay marriage. And with us now is Stuart Campbell from Equality North America, who fought against the amendment, and Tami Fitzgerald from North Carolina Values Coalition. You helped pass it, so you won. Why did you want this?
Well, it's important for the people of North Carolina to be the ones who define marriage, not the courts. And marriage is a pre-political institution.
You were afraid some judge would just decide this is legal, even though most people oppose it.
That's right. It's happened in other states. It's happened in about 6 states. The people of Iowa never thought that would happen there, and the courts redefined marriage for them. The courts in Massachusetts and Connecticut redefined marriage. And so I guess the attack on marriage has been through the judicial system and the marriage amendment.
Let me quibble. What do you mean the attack on marriage? To say let gay people marry too expands marriage. How does that attack marriage?
Well, I think it's audacious for a society to think they can redefine marriage. Marriage is pre-political. It existed outside of the state, outside of the government for a long time. And so for the government to impose an artificial definition on the people of the state is state interference in marriage.
Stuart?
Well, I think you first have to realize that we're not trying to redefine anything. We're actually trying to join an institution that we respect greatly. There are over 1,100 benefits that the federal government conveys on married couples.
And there are 1,100 benefits? Maybe we should get rid of some of those.
1,138. Yeah. Maybe, but that's another question for another day.
So, are you against gays?
We're not against gays, and this is the whole point. This was not an anti-gay movement. This was not about...
So why not let gays marry?
This was about protecting the traditional definition of marriage as between one man and one woman, because marriage has a definition outside of government. Government has no right to redefine marriage.
You don't object if people make private contracts and say, I consider myself married to you?
No. In fact, they do that already in North Carolina, and nothing in the amendment changed that. There was this whole list of parade of horribles that was supposed to happen after the marriage amendment passed, according to the opposition, and none of that has happened. It was supposed to hurt child custody, and that has not happened. It was supposed to have hurt the ability of
well, it's early yet.
Well, it is. But so far, about 4 months after the amendment passed, none of this parade of horribles has happened.
Stuart?
It actually does much more than just marriage. It actually prohibits marriage, civil unions, and one of the concerns we have is domestic partnerships, because it states that only something called a domestic legal union is the only thing legal in North Carolina, but no one's ever defined what that is.
Would you have the laws expand further? Should people be allowed to marry 3 women? Polygamy?
No, and I think there are reasons why that doesn't make sense, because because our country and the history of marriage is between 2 individuals.
The history of our country is telling gays to hide in the closets.
Right. Well, and that is not even a debate that we're having right now. We're just simply saying that...
Why not? If the principle is that consenting adults should be allowed to get married, why not polygamy?
That's something perhaps for another organization to promote. Personally, I'm actually interested in just seeing the gay and lesbian North Carolinians with the ability to get married.
The logic breaks down when you talk about the extent to which this private contract theory would go. And so the government has an interest in marriage because marriage is about the future of our country. It's about protecting children.
Marriage. It doesn't make it go away.
Well, and I'd like to point out that there's not a single person in this country who is going to get divorced or not married because their gay neighbor does. And that the claim that it's an attack on marriage is completely ludicrous.
Tami, what about that?
Well, the whole point is that the government's purpose in protecting marriage is to protect children. Now, children are a natural result of natural marriage between one man and one woman. And so marriage is about tying a man and a woman to each other and to their children.
There are a lot of single parents around.
Why
aren't they in favor of laws that prohibit people who can't have children from getting married? I mean, if that's really the only point, then why do that?
What about that?
Children are the natural product from a marriage. Now, there are exceptions to that rule. And couples who are childless are not prohibited from marrying, of course, because marriage is about procreation. Doesn't mean that those who can't procreate are excluded from the institution.
Except for gays and lesbians.
No.
We have laws preventing...
But there is no set of circumstances under which gays and lesbians can procreate. That is the point.
If that's the definition of marriage, then you should limit it to only people that go through a fertility test. If that's going to be the only definition of marriage...
You missed the point entirely.
No, I get your point. And
you missed the point entirely.
No, I don't.
We have laws We have laws that prevent brothers and sisters from marrying.
Exactly. The state has an interest in regulating marriage because the state has an interest in promoting the natural family.
Cousins should not be allowed to marry?
Exactly.
Cousins are allowed to marry in North Carolina.
In North Carolina, they can, yes.
In 20 states.